All right, so Jason, you know I love my Apple Watch, right?
Right?
So Apple has
I've heard you
been,
mention it a
yeah,
time or
a few
two.
times, a few times. So Apple's been in a patent dispute, which they get into all the time with people, but this one's over the blood
Yes.
oxygen sensor that's in the Apple Watch, and they've lost. Now, a lot of times they go, and I don't, let's not go off on the tangent of the patent system and patent trolls and stuff like that, but in this
Hmm.
case, they actually have lost pretty much everywhere they can lose. I mean, there are a couple of appeal pathways they may have, but basically they were ruled to be in violation of this patent with Massimo on blood oxygen sensors.
Hmm.
And so there was actually a ban. It was only for a few days, and then the appeals court said no, they can go back on sale while we work through this. Um, but the appeals court came back and said no, this is going to continue. And so what Apple has done in true Apple fashion, instead of paying and licensing the patents, they have found a workaround on
Right.
new Series 9 and Ultra 2 watches. From what I can tell, it's only those two devices because those are the only two new versions that are being sold that have the blood oxygen sensor. Because the SE, I don't think the Apple Watch SE doesn't have um, the blood oxygen sensor. And so on new watch sales starting this week or sometime in the last week or so for Series 9 or Ultra 2, the blood oxygen sensor has been disabled.
Okay.
So that was their
Smart
workaround.
move.
Yeah, I mean that allowed them to import these in. So the customs and immigration, they said yes, that's an acceptable workaround. So they're not
Right.
in theory violating the patent. So if you're going to go buy a brand new Apple Watch Series 9 or Ultra 2 right now, just know that the blood oxygen sensor has been disabled. Now it's not impacting older watches. So so Jason and I are both good on our Ultras.
Right.
It's also not supposed to impact Series 9 or Ultra 2 devices that were sold prior to the workaround being in place. That's my understanding. We'll see how this plays out.
Okay.
There's going to have to be some sort of serial number or dates of sale identification that they have to be doing in the background to say,
Hmm.
turn this off.
Yeah, because I wouldn't think that the court would just take Apple's word for it. That you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm pretty sure it's a little more to it than that.
Now, here's the thing, Jason, if you were in the market for a brand new Apple Watch and we're going to buy one of these, would you still buy one knowing that the blood oxygen sensor has been disabled?
I would because not only does it, not only affect those older watches or the Series 9 or the Ultra 2, with it being disabled, it doesn't affect the day-to-day functions of the watch, right? You still get 99.8% of an awesome Apple Watch. So, you know, unless somebody was specifically looking for a blood oxygen sensor, then no, this doesn't affect you at all. I still would recommend the Series 9 and the Ultra 2 to anyone that's looking for one, and let Apple work out, these back end deals with this company to in a future update, release an update that'll re-enable it. But, you know, to the average person, they're not looking for a blood oxygen sensor and a watch. They're looking for a watch. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So I think this is a smart move by Apple, which is definitely not what the company was looking for. I think they wanted to kind of tie Apple's hands into paying them whatever ransom that they wanted for the watches, and or the government was going to remove them from the shelves or whatever. But um, no, I don't think this is going to affect sales or interest in the Apple Watch whatsoever.
Yeah. I mean, it might hamper a little bit of sales, but I don't think it's going to be that much. And I agree with
Yeah.
you. I would still buy one. The primary reason is this is going to get resolved at some point,
Right.
right? Either
Right.
Apple will have to pay to license the patents or they'll buy the company, one of those things.
Yeah.
Um,
Right.
or they'll find a court that's willing to, you know, to
Yep.
reverse the decision.
Rule in
So,
their Yeah, rule in their
yeah,
favor.
so
Hmm.
I don't think this is going to be an issue. I don't think and maybe they're doing this because they have a new sensor. I mean, we've heard rumors about the Apple Watch X right, for the 10th
Hmm.
anniversary this year at some point, that new sensors and redesigns and all this kind of stuff. So maybe this really is temporary and they're going to have a new sensor. But first of all, I would still buy it because I believe it's going to get resolved. And I would
Yep.
also buy it because, again, it's not the um, most important feature on the watch. I think if it was the heart
Right.
rate sensor, I'd be way
Right.
more
Right.
concerned. But a lot of people will say that the oxygen sensor is useless, but I completely disagree with that. I mean, I know that like with the temperature sensor, that they only do it at night, and
Hmm.
they've really narrowed that down. And but with the blood oxygen sensor, I have compared it every time I go into the doctor for my annual checkup or whatever the case may be. I've always compared my readings to what they got on the little thing they put on your finger, and I'm always within a point or two. And so is it
Okay.
a
So it's
medical
pretty accurate.
diagnostic? Yeah. Is it a medical diagnostic device? No. But if my oxygen is consistently 20 points lower on my watch than normal, that's
Hmm.
going to be a pretty good indicator that there's something going on. And so I wonder how it's going to impact things like VO2 max, which is a health setting that I look at
Hmm.
quite a bit. And I know when I'm getting sick because my lungs are the first things that get sick usually with me.
Right.
And so I'll go out for my walk and
It
my
affects your
VO2 max
breathing.
will have dropped dramatically. Yeah, I mean, I had asthma growing up as a kid and I still have exercise induced asthma, but it just does
Okay. So
damage,
you're
right?
always conscious of your
Yeah.
breathing in your lungs and stuff. Yeah.
So
I can understand that.
I don't agree with the folks that say it's just useless in the watch. So I do think Apple needs to solve this problem. So,
Yeah. Okay.
um, and I don't think they'll be able to do a bunch of the other things they want to do without getting this resolved. So, I mean, they're talking
Right.
about glucose monitoring and blood pressure monitoring and all that kind of stuff. Just resolve this so that we don't have
Right.
to worry about it.
Right. So we're talking about Apple too, right? We're talking about a company that's it's a huge multi-billion-dollar company, but they're still pretty nimble too. So they actually have the ability to just take it out of the watch, right? I know there's millions of units produced and they're sitting on a shelf and in warehouses and stuff, but I mean they can literally just flip a switch and take it out.
Yep.
Ultra
Which,
2.1, Series 9.2, you know what I mean? And just
yep.
start selling that. But we're 9, 10 months away from new versions anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's probably not even worth it.
Yep.
You know, the Ultra 2 sold millions of units. How many did I mean, the Ultra, the one that we both have, right? It sold millions. This one's already been available for 2 years. I mean, how much did the Ultra 2 sell really since,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, since September last year? Yes, millions of units, but not enough to make them really just, make major changes to their to their whole Apple Watch model to just to appease this company just trying
Yeah.
to get money out of them. So we'll
Yep.
see.
So, I mean, Massimo, unlike a lot of those that Apple fights, Massimo's actually doing things with their patents. They actually have blood oxygen sensors that are being sold in the market, right? And stuff
Okay,
like
so they're
that.
just
So,
not your common patent trolls that are
yeah, yeah,
just
yeah.
sitting on
So,
ideas. Yeah,
anyway, we could go on and on and on about this, but the whole
yeah,
reason I wanted to bring this up is I would still buy it. I would recommend you buy it, but you need to be aware that the blood oxygen sensor is not going to be enabled if you buy a brand new one. So just be aware of that, and we'll keep you updated. And when this gets resolved, we'll let you know what the resolution was and give you the all clear.
yeah, yeah. Quick question though: if you were a CEO of a company, would it be and you're selling products? Would it be better for you to say, let Apple pay us whatever, for the patent, and for us to sell our products and say, this is the same sensor that is in the Apple Watch? Wouldn't that be more of a maybe,
Yeah,
I would think, depending on what the product is, but
it could be. I mean, not to get too much into this, but the whole reason this came about is apparently Apple and Massimo had conversations under NDA about what was going on because Apple's always exploring technology and looking to acquire
right,
or
constantly.
build
Yep.
things, and so um, I think that's part of what Massimo is doing is saying we're not going to get pushed around and taken advantage of just because Apple's the
Yeah.
most the highest value company in the world. So
Right.
anyway.